Certainly no one, except for maybe the South Carolina players and fans, expected those guys to beat Texas.
Well, so far early since the beginning of the tournament, the odds-on favorites had been Texas and Louisiana. So certainly that does come as a big surprise that South Carolina was able to knock off Texas. I think that score was 11-10 last night. And one of the South Carolina players hit a grand slam home run. That would be in the key blow in the game.
And South Carolina will take on Louisiana, who got a bye yesterday. That game will come up at 8 o'clock tonight, as those are the only two teams remaining in the tournament with no losses. And there are two other games going on. This one here, Alabama versus North Carolina, and Texas versus Tennessee over on field number 1. That'll be a big matchup, as Texas is now in the losers bracket. I think we'll pause here as we're going to have our invocation, and our invocation will be followed by our national anthem. So stations along the line, stay with us for the invocation and the national anthem from City Pond Complex.
Ladies and gentlemen, our invocation will be brought today by the Reverend Amy Morgan, pastor of Allen Memorial Church in Austin.
Let us pray. Loving God, we thank you for this beautiful day and for this opportunity to participate in such an exciting event. We ask you to be with us during these games that we might enjoy your gifts and recreation. Bless the coaches and the players. Protect them from injury and help each to do his best. We thank you for the success that has brought them this far, but most of all for the fact that in your eyes, each of us are winners. Amen.
Our national anthem will be sung by Mary Edwards Covington.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The invocation followed by the national anthem here at City Pond Complex in Covington, Georgia, and we will be back to give you your starting lineups. It's North Carolina versus Alabama, and we will be back right after these messages to give you your starting lineups and to begin this afternoon's action. Again, you're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series, and we'll be back after this.
County, now you have a choice. That choice is Rockdale Team Sports, located at Salem Gate Shopping Center in Conyers. Rockdale Team Sports provides you with everything you'll need for baseball, softball, basketball, football, and soccer. Take advantage of our fast in-house custom lettering and screen printing. We also offer low prices, friendly service, and a complete uniform service. Rockdale Team Sports would like to congratulate all the participants in this year's Little League World Series, and especially the city of Covington.
Cable News Network brings the world into your home. Their aggressive professional reporters cover stories to their fullest, providing you the chance to witness history in the making. Whether it be the rainforest in the Amazons or the country roads of Kansas, CNN is there around the clock breaking and updating news. Hear firsthand news that will impact today and shape tomorrow. Subscribe to the Cable News Network. Call Covington Cable TV at 787-4444. That's 787-4444 for CNN.
I was at Pippin's Barbecue the other day having some pork barbecue, and it was great. But then I looked over at the next table, and they were having smoked chicken, so I ordered that too. And then I found out about the Brunswick stew, so I ordered that. And then I figured, what the heck, why not just order the whole Pippin's Barbecue menu? But I didn't, because I just didn't have the room on the table.
Our food and our service just can't be beat. You're gonna love what you eat.
Pippin's Barbecue, Highway 20 South in Conyers and on Alcovey Road in Covington.
Carroll Home Healthcare is growing fast thanks to you folks who have allowed us to meet your home hospital equipment needs. We've just added a respiratory therapist to better serve our oxygen patients. We've also added enteral feeding to our services and expanded our in-store inventory. When you need anything related to home care equipment from oxygen to walker tips, come in and see why our customers talk about the family feeling they get doing business here. We're in Covington Plaza next to McDonald's. Carroll Home Healthcare, 786-2030. The family folks. Taking the field, North Carolina All-Stars set to bat in the top half of the first inning. With the play-by-play action for the first couple innings, James Windham, you also have our starting lineups for both teams.
That's right, Kevin. Robbie Huffstetler will be playing second base. He's set to lead off against the Alabama All-Stars. He'll be followed by Mike Slater in center field. Carlos Gaithers plays shortstop. Richard Booth will be pitching and batting cleanup for the North Carolina All-Stars. Levi Jones plays first base. Ryan Register at the hot corner. Jeffrey Jeanette will handle duties at the backstop. Ashley Carteret plays left field, and Jason Hemingway in right field. On the mound for the Alabama All-Stars this afternoon will be Al Gonzalez, who played a solid third base yesterday and came in the seventh inning in relief of Matt Moore, who pitched a brilliant ball game for the Alabama All-Stars before sort of running out of gas there in the seventh inning. Al Gonzalez is ready. Robbie Huffstetler steps in, does a little housekeeping there in the batter's box on the right-hand side. And we're set to get underway here from Covington, Georgia in the Dixie Boys World Series. The first pitch from Al Gonzalez. Swung on, hit foul down the left field line. Almost decapitated North Carolina coach. Turn around, we'll read the back of his jersey. No names. No balls, one strike to count on Robbie Huffstetler, the second baseman for North Carolina. The North Carolina All-Stars hail from Columbus County East. And, of course, Alabama from Daphne. The 0-1. And that misses high. One ball, one strike. Gonzalez rubs up the baseball. Huffstetler steps out, stretches a little bit. And the 1-1. Swung on, hit to shortstop. Up with it is shortstop Kevin Trammell. He throws over to Sheldrick Patterson in time for the first out of the game. So Huffstetler retired 6-3, and that'll bring up Mike Slater, center fielder for North Carolina. Beautiful day here in Covington, Georgia. Slight wind blowing toward left field, it would appear. And the pitch. Misses high, ball one.
Al Gonzalez came in and pitched well in relief for Alabama. Getting the start in this game, and important for him to shut down the North Carolina offensive attack. They had 16 runs in their opening round game on Saturday.
0-1, and that misses low. The 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes on Mike Slater. The 2-0. And that also misses low, so 3 balls, no strikes to count to Mike Slater. Al Gonzalez falling behind on the second batter of the game.
And Gonzalez hasn't missed by much, but he's keeping the ball low, trying to keep it out of Slater's wheelhouse. Unfortunately, he's been a little bit too low.
The cripple pitch. And that's right through there, splits the plate. 3 balls, 1 strike to count. Alabama defensively will feature Matt Moore at third base, Kevin Trammell at short, Donald Juneau at second, and Sheldrick Patterson at first, as Mike Slater swings and misses at the 3-1 offering from Al Gonzalez. In the outfield, William Wright plays left, Ben Mosley, the fine center fielder, and Eddie Harrion will be playing in right field, Kevin Brinsfield behind the plate. The payoff pitch, swung on, chopped, foul, about halfway to third base. Coming out is third baseman Matt Moore, who pitched almost the entire ball game yesterday afternoon for the Alabama All-Stars. He'll return the ball to Al Gonzalez. And Mike Slater is set to take the payoff pitch all over again.
One interesting note about this North Carolina All-Star team, throughout the tournament they have not taken infield practice we're talking about before the game begins, and they did not today either.
Whatever works. The payoff pitch, swung on, chopped to shortstop Kevin Trammell. He's up with it, throws over to Sheldrick Patterson, not in time. Mike Slater is down at first base, beating out an infield single. One man out here in the top of the first. North Carolina All-Stars with a runner at first base. That's Mike Slater, center fielder. And now up will be Carlos Gaithers, the shortstop for the Carolina All-Stars from Columbus County East.
Gaithers last night against Florida, 1 for 3, scored one of the 2 North Carolina runs on a balk.
The first pitch, high and inside. Kevin Brinsfield comes up like he's going to throw down to first base, but he's only bluffing.
And one interesting note about last night's game, those 2 runs scored, both of them on mental errors by the pitcher. Pitcher made a bad throw to third base, allowing 1 run to score, turned around and balked another one in, and that was the only scoring in the game. 2-0, North Carolina won it.
And as Gonzalez's offering comes in over the plate for a called strike 1, Mike Slater gets down to second base on a stolen base with no throw from Kevin Brinsfield, the catcher. So the North Carolina All-Stars with something going here in the top of the first. Runner in scoring position with 1 man out. 1-1 the count to hitter Carlos Gaithers, batting third in the North Carolina lineup. And the pitch, there's a strike breaking ball. Caught the inside corner. And it's 1 ball, 2 strikes now.
Alabama defense giving Gaithers up the middle pretty heavily. The shortstop playing over toward third base. There's a big gap just to our left of second base.
Expecting Gaithers to pull as he swings and misses at the 1-2 offering, and that'll do it for him. He strikes out. Second out of the inning. First strikeout of the game for Al Gonzalez. And that'll bring up cleanup hitter Richard Booth. Will be the pitcher the afternoon for North Carolina. Booth bats from the right side. Gonzalez checks the side. Now looks at his runner and the pitch. Swung on, drilled into left center field. That'll be a base hit. And Gaithers will come home. Slater, rather, will come home and score the run. The throw goes into the plate, allowing Richard Booth to come down to second with a double. Or actually with a single to left center, and he reaches second on the throw, Kevin.
And a well-hit ball from Richard Booth, who'll be pitching for North Carolina this afternoon. Booth hit a couple of balls well foul last night against Florida, but he couldn't touch it with 2 strikes. He struck out twice.
So 2 men out here in the top of the first. The North Carolina All-Stars have put a run on the board, and they have yet another runner in scoring position, this being Richard Booth. Levi Jones, the first baseman, stands in and looks at a ball that misses inside from Al Gonzalez. One ball, no strikes, the count. 1-0, North Carolina, top of the first. Gonzalez throws down to second. Good throw, right on the bag. And that's Donald Juneau, the second baseman, hauling in the throw, but Richard Booth is back in time.
Very good throw to second base. Apparently Alabama has practiced that play in the past.
The 1-0. Swung on, hit, drilled to second baseman Donald Juneau. He comes up with it, bobbles it, throws over to first. In time, Sheldrick Patterson with a nice stretch at first base. And that'll do it for the North Carolina All-Stars here in the top half of the first inning. We go to the second inning. North Carolina All-Stars have a 1-0 lead over Alabama. You're listening to live Dixie Boys World Series baseball coverage here from City Pond Complex in Covington, Georgia. We'll be back with more exciting baseball action after this.
It's time for the hot summer clearance sale at Lane Body Shop and Marine on new and previously owned pontoons. Used pontoons starting at $3,500 and closeout prices on new pontoons. Javelin bass boats with Evinrude motors, flat bottom aluminum boats, and pedal boats. Plus clearance prices on all Evinrude outboard motors in stock. Hurry and buy before the 94s arrive and save. Lane Body Shop and Marine is your local boat headquarters, located at 12247 Flat Shoals Road in Covington. Phone number 786-7405 or 787-2060.
At Food Depot, we invite you to try a new and better way of doing business. You buy the groceries at our cost, plus 10%. This week's specials include large crisp lettuce, 68 cents a head. Thompson seedless white grapes, 78 cents a pound. Soft and gentle bathroom tissue, a 4-pack for only 78 cents. Half a gallon of assorted flavors of Mayfield ice cream for only $1.79. A 4-pack of Flavor Right biscuits, sweet milk or buttermilk, 83 cents. USDA heavy western boneless round steak, $1.65 a pound. Fresh quarter loin pork chops, $1.59 a pound. And quality hamburger or hot dog buns, a 12-pack, only 63 cents. Food Depot in Covington, Conyers, and Stockbridge.
And of course, our listeners right here in Covington, Georgia on AM 1430 WGFS. I'm Jamie Windham with the play-by-play. Joining me with the color commentary is Kevin Holden. Kevin?
I am here, and we are having fun out here at City Pond Complex. We do every day. It's been a very fun tournament, and for the most part, a very successful tournament. Weather here today is beautiful. Don't think there are going to be any showers here in Covington today. Perfect August weather, and as they've been saying in our studios today, the dog days are here.
Donald Juneau bats first. He'll be followed by Kevin Trammell. Al Gonzalez, the pitcher, bats third. Ben Mosley, the cleanup hitter. Matt Moore bats fifth. Sheldrick Patterson sixth. Eddie Harrion in right field will bat seventh. William Wright and Kevin Brinsfield will round out the Alabama order this afternoon. They will face Richard Booth, who has completed his warm-up tosses. And there's a little bit of a powwow on the mound from the North Carolina infield. They return to their positions, to their respectful positions, as Dizzy Dean said.
Thank you very much. We talked last night, I did, with Dick Bowers about the Gas House Gang Cardinals.
And the first pitch to Donald Juneau misses outside, low and away. 1 ball, no strikes. Juneau stands in there in the 1-0 from Booth. And this one's right down the heart of the plate. And that'll even the count at 1-1.
Anyway, continuing our conversation, I talked with Dick about the Gas House Gang Cardinals. He was very impressed with Frankie Frisch, their shortstop, as he called it, and the Dean brothers, whom he called Jerome and Paul.
And the 1-1. And that misses inside. 2 balls, 1 strike to Donald Juneau, the leadoff hitter.
Of course, Jerome, Dizzy's real name. Not many people knew that. But Dick Bowers knew it.
Yes. Mr. Bowers strikes me as someone quite knowledgeable about baseball. We have a timeout as the ball from the adjacent field makes its way onto our field of play here.
Another thing that we discussed last night were the pennant races in all 4 divisions, and he gave me his predictions, and I wrote them down. I want to see how close he is to being right as far as the pennant races are concerned. And we'll talk as this inning goes along about your predictions, but he is talking about the Giants and the Phillies in the National League.
And the offering from Booth is swung on foul back into the screen, and that'll even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes to Juneau. It's hard not to like the Phillies and the Giants right now. The American League, of course, is pretty much wide open. You can pretty much play it safe and say the White Sox in the West, and I still like Toronto in the East.
Toronto, with the addition of Ricky Henderson, making them a much tougher ball club to beat.
The 2-2 misses low, and that'll fill the count up as Richard Booth misses to Donald Juneau. And yeah, I'm really going out on a limb on all those, aren't I, Kevin?
So far, nothing major. Now, that American League Eastern Division, you can go with any one of 4 teams within a game of first.
And Juneau misses inside, Booth misses inside to Juneau, and Juneau will take a base. So a leadoff walk for the Alabama All-Stars, and that could spell trouble for North Carolina. This Alabama team very speedy from all throughout their lineup.
Lots of stolen bases in yesterday's game. In fact, that's the #1 reason why they picked up the victory yesterday was the stolen base.
Alabama All-Stars plated 6 runs in the first inning yesterday against the Mississippi All-Stars on their way to an 11-7 win, is that right? The first pitch misses, and Juneau is stealing, and he just overruns the bag. The throw goes down, and he gets back just in time.
Bang play on the way back. On the way down, he was safe by a pretty good margin, but overslid the base. And From this vantage point, and a couple of folks in the press box agreed, he may have been out.
It looked like he was, but Jeffrey Jenrette, that's going to be a tough one for me, with the throw from catcher. And Carlos Gaithers at short and Robbie Huffstetler at second base. Neither one of them agree. They were both walking around with their hands on their heads. Nonetheless, Donald Juneau is down at first base, and I think I said it was a ball to Kevin Trammell, and it's not. It's a strike. So no balls, one strike to count to Kevin Trammell. Booth checks the runner and throws. Swung on, hit back up the middle. This will get through into center field, and one run will score. So Donald Juneau scores from second on an RBI single back up the middle from Kevin Trammell. And it's 1-1.
Carlos Gaithers, the shortstop for North Carolina, would have had a play on that ball. He was playing behind the runner, trying to get back to his position, and the ball was hit to his left as he was moving to his right. He stopped and fell, and that's how the ball got by. He would have had a play at first base, but because he fell, the ball got by. Alabama gets themselves on the board here in the first.
Watch for Kevin Trammell to be taking off at any moment. Al Gonzalez, the hitter, batting third in the Alabama lineup. And the pitch from Booth, swung on, chopped to shortstop. This time Gators is up with it, throws on to second base in time, but he dropped the ball. Robbie Huffstetler at second base could not hold on to the ball, and Kevin Trammell slides in safely.
That's an E4. It was sort of a tough throw, but Huffstetler should have had it at second base. Gonzalez reaching on the fielder's choice, and Alabama threatening big. And when they get their base runners on, you can rest assured that they're going to be advancing via either the stolen base or something to that effect.
Indeed, a double steal here in the first inning wouldn't surprise us at all. Ben Mosley batting cleanup now for Alabama. The fine center fielder made some great plays in center field yesterday afternoon. The first pitch to him misses down low. One ball, no strike.
We also may see Mosley do a little bit of pitching today. Mosley pitched a very fine game a couple of days ago against Arkansas.
We know he has an arm. And the 1-0 is called strike one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kevin Trammell at second, Al Gonzalez at first. Both of them doing a little bit of dancing on the base paths. Booth checks the runners and throws. Bounces one up there. 2 balls, 1 strike.
One person we don't see in the game today, unless he's farther down in the North Carolina lineup. No, he is not. His name is Montoya Moore. Pitched last night for the North Carolina All-Stars, threw a complete game shutout, and what a pitcher he was. He was mixing up his fastball and breaking ball. Just had the Florida hitters all mistimed on their swings, and there just weren't that many good swings by the Florida club last night.
Richard Booth taking care of a little hygiene out on the mound. His shirt had come untucked, and the umpire called time while he tucked it in. And the pitch to Ben Mosley. That one misses outside. 3 balls, 1 strike to count. So Alabama threatening to really do some damage here in the top half of the first inning. Time is called now by the North Carolina dugout. They want a conference on the mound. The infield comes in, and the North Carolina head coach is now discussing something with Richard Booth.
And over on field number 1, Texas is taking on Tennessee. 1-0 is your score in the first inning in favor of the home team, and we're looking to see who the home team is. It looks like the home team may be the Tennessee All-Stars.
Tennessee has a runner at first and a runner at second.
2 down in that inning over there. It is the bottom of the first, and yes, Tennessee does have the lead, 1-0.
I can make a prediction that score will not stand. That Texas team is certainly capable of putting a lot of runs on the board.
Texas team in their 3 games have scored 17, 7, and 10 runs. 34 runs in 3 games.
The pitch to Ben Mosley is swung on foul back to the backstop, and that'll fill the count. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
That Texas team was upset, though, by South Carolina last night, 11-10. Definitely one of the big upsets of the tournament. And they move into the losers bracket.
The payoff pitch is swung on and missed by Ben Mosley, and he'll go sit down with the first out of the inning for the Alabama All-Stars. That'll bring up Matt Moore, playing third base this afternoon. He, of course, pitched into the 7th inning last night for Alabama.
Continuing our conversation about the American League East, I talked with Dick Powers about it last night. He was talking as if he thought Toronto would win the division, but there's one team I wanted to talk about in particular who you've got to be impressed with their progress, and that's the New York Yankees.
I don't know. If as the first pitch into left-hander Matt Moore misses outside, 1 ball, no strikes. I might have to take issue with that because I'm very impressed with Boston and having the lowest ERA in the American League. That can win some games for you.
Boston has the best relief pitching in baseball with Jeff Russell out there in the bullpen.
The 1-0 misses low, and that'll be 2 balls, no strikes to Matt Moore.
Of course, Boston has Clemens, also Danny Darwin having a fine season up there. And Boston has a couple of hitters who are getting the job done, hitters who weren't expected to do very good jobs, people like Billy Hatcher. And that's the way you stay in the pennant race.
And the 2-0 misses inside, and 3 balls, no strikes to Matt Moore. So one more time, Richard Booth is in a jam. However, he bounced back from a 3-0 count to Ben Mosley to record the strikeout. Let's see what he can do against Matt Moore here. And the cripple pitch on to Moore. Swung on, fouled out of play down the third base line.
But the 2 division leaders in the National League have to be the 2 most exciting teams in baseball to watch right now. The Giants and the Phillies, of course, very intense teams, and the Phillies just a wild bunch of guys, a lot like that Gas House gang of the Cardinals back in the 30s.
The 3-1 is swung on at and bounced at the plate, foul.
What I'm leading to with this is, what do you think is going to happen when the Giants take on the Phillies and the crowds behind them and Philadelphia acting as wild as they are?
I don't look for Philadelphia's pitching to last. They've had their starters throw a lot of games, a lot of innings, and I think that's going to hurt them down the stretch. But I don't think anybody's going to catch them in the East. The payoff is a called strike 3 to Matt Moore, and he too will sit down. So a bit of gutsy pitching for Richard Booth, the North Carolina pitcher, who bounced back from 3-0 counts to the last 2 hitters to fan both of them. Sheldrick Patterson, the first baseman, will dig in now. Alabama has Kevin Trammell at second base and Al Gonzalez at first, but so far they've been spectators since they got to those bases. And the first pitch from Booth misses low, 1 ball, no strikes. Bit surprising, we've already seen Ben Mosley with, or was it Matt Moore, with a 3-0 count swinging at the cripple pitch. And this one is on the corner for a called strike, 1-1. And it's also a little bit surprising not to see any action on the base paths for Alabama with these 2 runners on. We've seen them try everything yesterday.
So far, they've been conservative on the base paths, and now 2 down.
1-1 is off-speed pitch swung on and missed by Sheldrick Patterson. 1 ball, 2 strikes now.
Of course, if there had been any action, it wouldn't have helped in this situation as both Mosley and Moore struck out.
Richard Booth looks in for the sign. And the pitch. Swung on, chopped to short. Up with it is Gaithers. He throws on to Huffington in time, Huffstetler in time, and that'll do it for the Alabama All-Stars, but not before they pick up 1 run on 1 hit. We go to the top half of the second inning. It's the Alabama All-Stars 1, the North Carolina All-Stars 1. You're listening to live coverage of the Dixie Boys World Series from City Pond Complex right here in Covington, Georgia. We'll be back with more exciting baseball action after this.
Listen to the top brass. We do. And the City of Covington Electric System, you're more than just a customer. You're a utility owner. That makes you our top priority. When you call the tune as one of our customer owners, it's our business to listen. This is what makes public power special. Local control means that everyone has a say in how the utility is operated and how community goals are met. Public ownership of electric service is like owning your own home. Private ownership is like renting it. Because public power is not for profit, our only mission is to provide reliable electric service at fair rates. The City of Covington Electric System counts every citizen as top brass. When you sound off, we pay attention. Look at public power in a new light. After all, it's yours.
You ever had one of them mornings where you just couldn't wake up because you didn't sleep worth a flip all night? Well, join us this Friday morning for a Health Line as we talk about insomnia and some of the many things that cause it, affect it, and what goes on with the sleep. That's Friday the 13th. We're going to learn something good about insomnia, so mark your calendars now for 8:40 a.m.
Joining us here in Covington, Georgia for the Dixie Boys World Series, Ryan Register, Jeffrey Jenrette, and Ashley Carteret will each take a crack at right-hander Al Gonzalez for the Alabama All-Stars. North Carolina digs in. We're locked in a 1-1 ball game here in the top of the second. The first pitch from Gonzalez is over at the knees for a called strike. A little bit surprising there, Kevin, that Alabama could only get one run out of that inning.
They had the 2 runners on base and left them there. Big reason why, though, Richard Booth with some gutsy pitching, striking out 2 batters.
And Gonzalez throws another one past Ryan Register. This time he's swinging and misses. 0-2 the count. Register in a big hole here. Gonzalez checks the sign. Tall, lanky right-hander. And the pitch. And that just missed on the outside corner.
Ryan Register, the third baseman for North Carolina, and if Chris Berman were here, he would have a ball with that name.
Ryan Cash Register. Gonzalez checks, kicks, and throws. Swung on, missed. He strikes out Ryan Register. That's his second strikeout of the game. Gonzalez, that is. And that'll bring up Jeffrey Jenrette, the catcher.
Now batting, number 5, the catcher, Jeffrey Jenrette.
Gonzalez wears number 8. Jenrette number 5. And the pitch. So they'll foul back. Holden here thought he had a play.
I caught a foul ball last night, Jamie. I did. I caught one. In fact, I really can't say that I made a gutsy play to catch it because it was a foul ball that landed right in front of us on the concrete, then bounced up here on the porch about 15 feet off to the left and then rolled to the back leg of my chair. All I had to do was pick it up.
Doesn't count. It was a dead ball. The 0-1, and that misses inside to even the count.
Worst part about it was they made me give the ball back, but they gave me a squirt bottle, and that I guess will have to be my souvenir.
Well, you get a free Coke if you return a foul ball here at the Dixie Boys World Series. The 1-1 is swung on, missed. And Jenrette spun himself in the dirt on that one.
Something must have buckled there for Jenrette. Trying to swing at the outside pitch, he almost fell straight off to his left.
The 1-2 from Gonzalez, and that's a called strike. Beauty of a curveball right on the inside corner. And that's 2 strikeouts in a row, 3 on the game now for Al Gonzalez.
And if Gonzalez has the curveball working like he did there, it's going to be a long day for the North Carolina All-Stars. That curveball almost hit Jenrette, then curved back in, caught that inside corner.
Good pitch from Al Gonzalez. That's a tough bender. Ashley Cartrette, the hitter now, and he looks at a ball outside from Gonzalez.
Number 4, the left fielder, Ashley Carter.
Gonzalez checks the sign from catcher Kevin Brinsfield, and the pitch. And this one misses low. 2 balls, no strikes the count now to Cartrette.
The Alabama All-Stars are 2-1 so far in this tournament. Lost 17-2 to Texas on Saturday, but they bounced back with 2 victories, one over Arkansas, one over Mississippi.
Bounced up the middle, and coming up with it is shortstop Kevin Trammell. He throws on to Sheldrick Patterson in time, and that'll do it. 3 up and 3 down for the North Carolina All-Stars. We go to the bottom of the second inning. 1-1 your score here at the Dixie Boys World Series here at City Pond Complex in Covington, Georgia. We'll be back with more exciting baseball action after this.
Oh, it was terrible. Last night I dreamed that I didn't have HBO. I turned on the television, and all the movies had commercials every 15 minutes. The series were old and had been in syndication since 1976. It was horrible. I tried every channel, but it was hopeless. I couldn't find HBO. But then I woke up. I ran to my TV, and there it was, HBO, with uncut and uninterrupted movies like A League of Their Own, Mo Money, Whispers in the Dark, and Strapped, an HBO original movie, plus top comedy series like Dream On and The Larry Sanders Show starring Gary Shandling, not to mention World Championship Boxing and Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam. Believe me, having HBO is a dream come true, but trying to live without it is a nightmare. So wake up and, get HBO.
Call Covington Cable TV 787-4444. 787-4444.
You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series here on your local sports leader, WGFS AM 1430 Covington.
Eddie Harrion, William Wright, and Kevin Brinsfield, the bottom of the Alabama order, will face pitcher Richard Booth for the North Carolina All-Stars. Thank you for joining us here at Covington, Georgia, site of the Dixie Boys World Series. We've had a great tournament so far. Just been a lot of fun here for everybody. Got some good crowds out here soaking up some sun and watching some baseball. Right now we have a bit of a conference on the mound, and that's pretty typical for North Carolina. This game might creep along with the way they like to confer.
North Carolina All-Stars enjoy discussing something before every inning. I guess they are very in-depth with their strategy, or perhaps just trying to delay for time.
Maybe they're discussing where they're going to go eat after the ball game. Butch Trammell is the third base coach for the Alabama All-Stars this afternoon. Dan Hartley handling the chores at first base for Alabama. And it looks like we're just about ready to play ball here. Eddie Harrion, the right fielder, stands in there now. Takes a couple of practice cuts. Wears number 44, a power number.
Reminiscent of Hank Aaron.
Oh, no doubt. And the pitch to Harrion. Looks like it misses inside. Or does it? It's a strike.
Caught the inside corner.
No balls, one strike. Our view of home plate is partially obstructed here, so you just have to bear with us a little bit.
That was also the quickest call by an umpire of a strike I've perhaps ever seen.
In this tournament. Oh, nice breaking ball. This one, he really pulled the string on that one, and Harrion swung about 2 seconds before the ball got to the plate. No balls, 2 strikes now the count. Harrion really scratching his head on that one. The 0-2. Swung on, miss. Strike 3. That's the third strikeout of the game for Richard Booth, and it looks like these two pitchers, Richard Booth and Al Gonzalez, are matching each other pitch for pitch here, Kevin.
And in that at bat there for Eddie Harrion, after swinging way early on that curveball, you knew he was going to be in trouble, because if Booth had come back with the fastball, which he did, Harrion was never going to catch up to it, and he did not.
William Wright stands in there now, number 12, batting from the right-hand side, playing left field. And the first pitch from Booth swung on, drilled over the shortstop's head into left field. This one heading toward the gap, but cut off by the left fielder. And William Wright will have himself a single. That's Ashley Cartrett there in left field. Makes the throw back to the infield. But a solid single to left for William Wright.
And it will be interesting to see, Jamie, if Alabama decides to go ahead and steal some bases here and try to do something with that runner at first base, because they didn't last time around when they had 2 on.
Kevin Brinsfield, the catcher, will stand in there now, batting 9th in the Alabama order. Wright's going on the first pitch. He will be in there safely. A bit unusual, as Jeffrey Jenrette, the North Carolina catcher, anticipated that, and he was standing up before the ball got to him, but he could do nothing to throw out William Wright. Wright, a very speedy runner.
I think the same can be said of a lot of folks on this Alabama team. Speed 1 through 9 in the batting order. There's only one person we haven't seen attempt a stolen base, and that's the batter, Brinsfield.
The first pitch to Brinsfield, we should mention, was missed high, and this time he fouls one down the first base line, and it will be caught by the first baseman. That's Levi Jones at first base. And we will pause now for a 15-second break for station identification. You're listening to the Dixie Boys Radio Network.
You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series here on your local sports leader, WGFS AM 1430, Covington.
Leadoff hitter Donald Juneau is in there. And the first pitch to him goes all the way to the backstop. William Wright will walk into third base. And that's a wild pitch. Brinsfield popped to the first baseman for the second out of the inning. And we're back to the top of the order with Donald Juneau. William Wright at third base, and the pitch to Juneau swung on, hit toward the hole between third base and shortstop, and all shortstop Carlos Gaithers could do was smother that one. William Wright scores easily, And Donald Juneau has himself an infield single.
And that's the way Alabama's been scoring runs throughout this tournament. Wright singled, reached second on a stolen base, reached third on the wild pitch, and scored there on the infield single. If he had stayed at first base, if they had decided to play station-to-station baseball, might have been a forced play at second base, and Alabama certainly would not have had that run.
Alabama now has a 2-1 lead with the runner at first base and 2 men out. Donald Juneau with an RBI. And the first pitch to Kevin Trammell is a called strike. Trammell also has an RBI. He drove in a run with a single back in the first inning. Scoring Juneau. The 0-1 from Richard Booth. And this one misses low and outside, and that'll even the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Juneau bluffs like he's going to be stealing on the plate. I think he will be stealing. It's just a matter of when.
Sort of like Otis Nixon for the Atlanta Braves. Not a question of if, just when.
Juneau gets his lead. Booth throws over there, try to check him a little bit. Juneau is back standing.
North Carolina All-Stars are also 2-1 in this tournament. They beat Arkansas 16-3 in the first game, then lost 7-0 to Texas on Sunday night, bounced back to shut out Florida 2-0 last night.
Kevin Trammell has a sign from third base coach and his dad, Butch Trammell. And Richard Booth goes over to first base, and this one gets away from the first baseman. And Juneau will be down at second easily. So they made it easy for Donald Juneau this time. And I think that was an errant throw there, wasn't it?
Certainly was. Errant throw by the pitcher, Richard Booth.
Levi Jones, the first baseman, couldn't do much to bring that one in.
Throw was right into the runner, and there really isn't much that Jones could have done, as you said. And lucky that Juneau only got to second base. Apparently there's not much foul ground on that right field line.
1 ball, 1 strike to Trammell, and he chops one to third base. Coming in is third baseman Ryan Register, and he throws over to first base Levi Jones in time, and that'll do it for the Alabama All-Stars. But not before they pick up a run on 2 hits and take a 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the second inning. We're through with 2 here, and you're listening to live coverage of the Dixie Boys World Series here from City Pond Complex in Covington, Georgia. It's the North Carolina All-Stars taking on the Alabama All-Stars, with Alabama enjoying a 2-1 lead. We'll be back with more exciting baseball action after this message.
Carroll Home Healthcare is the place you get that family feeling when you really need to know that someone cares. We can meet all your home care equipment needs, from hospital beds, wheelchairs, oxygen and lift chairs, to diabetic supplies and blood pressure cuffs. Come by and visit with folks who really care. Carroll Home Healthcare at Covington Plaza next to McDonald's. Call us at 786-2030. We want you to get that family feeling too at Carroll Home Healthcare, 786-2030.
With so many events going on in our world, you need information sources that you can count on. Listen to WGFS, Covington's news and information leader, for the latest in what's going on in Newton County. And for what's going on in our world, tune to CNN. The cable news network is the world's most reliable news source. If you can't get CNN, call Covington Cable TV at 787-4444. Call 787-4444 for CNN.
You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series here on your local sports leader, WGFS AM 1430 Covington.
Jason Hemingway, then it's the top of the order. Robbie Huffstetler and Mike Slater will face Al Gonzalez, the Alabama pitcher here. The Alabama All-Stars have a 2-1 lead in the Dixie Boys World Series here at City Pond Complex in Covington, Georgia. Jason Hemingway with his first at-bat of the game, and the first pitch from Al Gonzalez is fouled back. And this time, Kevin didn't think he had a play.
No, that time I was looking down and concentrating on something else. Now, they have a big screen that goes an extra 15 feet, possibly, maybe not quite that much, up over the regular screen. And that's going to keep a lot of foul balls from coming back this way.
The 0-1 is chopped at and missed. That was a horrible-looking swing from Jason Hemingway. And now he's in the hole, no balls, 2 strikes. Scoreboard says, now they've got it corrected. They had it 1 ball, 1 strike. No balls, 2 strikes to Jason Hemingway. The pitch from Gonzalez, and this one does miss low.
Good idea from Gonzalez, trying to drop the curveball in inside. That's how he got Jeffrey Jenrette earlier in last inning. Couldn't bring it in here.
The 1-2 to Hemingway. And that's a called strike on the outside corner. 4th strikeout of the game for Al Gonzalez. And Jason Hemingway will go sit down. We'll see the top of the Alabama Robbie Huffstetler, who grounded out to short his first time at bat.
They have just completed 2 innings on field number 1. Tennessee taking on Texas in a loser's bracket game. Tennessee, the home team in that game, leading 1-0 over Texas, as Texas maybe getting upset again.
The first pitch to Robbie Huffstetler is inside. That'll be a ball.
Wonder if that's the first time that Texas has not scored in 2 consecutive innings.
I don't know, but it's not going to be a 1-0 ball game, I guarantee you. The 1-0 hit foul down the left field line. That was a long shot. It's hard to tell how close how close that ball was, but it was foul nonetheless.
It was a pretty good poke, and he probably would have gotten a double out of it had it been fair. And North Carolina right now just needing the base runners down 1 run.
We've got a dugout and a backstop obstructing our view of left field. The 1-1 to Huffstetler misses outside. Breaking ball. 2 balls, 1 strike now to Huffstetler. 2-1, Alabama leads it. We're in the top of the 3rd inning. The pitch is swung on, foul, popped up. Will it stay in play on 3rd base line? It stays in play. Did they make the catch? Umpires checking. Yes, he caught the ball. I think that was Matt Moore, the 3rd baseman.
And it looked like one of those plays on those Major League Baseball blooper reels where 3 players converge and they all fall or tumble over one another. Good job by Matt Moore to hang on to that one with 2 people bearing down on him like that.
And that had to be right in the sun. It looked like they were all trying to shield their eyes. They'll bring up Mike Slater, who singled and scored back in the 1st inning. And he looks at a ball low. Slater scored on a single to left center field by Richard Booth. The 1-0 is outside, but he swings at it and misses it. He lunged at that one, Kevin, and came up empty. And that'll even the count at 1 ball, 1 strike.
Gonzalez has settled down after allowing 2 hits in the 1st. He's retired 6 straight batters.
The 1-1 from Gonzalez, and there's a breaking ball over. Good pitch. And that's a knee buckler right there.
This North Carolina lineup is full of right-handed batters. In fact, I don't remember seeing a single left-handed batter in the North Carolina lineup, and that Gonzalez breaking ball tough on the righty.
The 1-2 from Gonzalez swung on as Slater was bailing out on that pitch. Gets away from the catcher Brinsfield, who throws down to Sheldrick Patterson. And was it in time, Kevin?
Not in time. He's safe.
He was safe. So a strikeout and a passed ball. And Mike Slater reaches.
The batter, the shortstop, number 26, Carlos Gathers.
That'll bring up Carlos Gathers, the shortstop, who struck out in the 1st inning. He was the first strikeout victim for Gonzalez. The first pitch to him is outside. Brinsfield comes up, looks like he's going to bluff a throw down to 1st base. Mike Slater was really lucky on that one, Kevin. He was bailing out all the way. He was stepping towards 3rd base as he swung at that pitch, and it squirted away from Brinsfield and allowed him to get down safely.
Probably the worst swing he's ever reached on.
And the 1-0 catches the outside corner for a strike to Carlos Gathers. That'll even the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. So Gonzalez trying to pitch around the pass ball. And the pitch. And this one misses way outside. Brinsfield does throw down to 1st base Sheldrick Patterson this time, but nowhere near in time. Slater only had about a 1-step lead. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strikeouts on the game for Al Gonzalez. A bit frustrating for the right-hander. And Slater's going on the pitch this time. Brinsfield up with it, and he will not make a throw. Gathers, meanwhile, swung and missed at the pitch. And that'll even the count on him at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Slater has reached base twice, and he has 2 stolen bases. Now, he scored in the first inning after reaching and stealing second. Here in the third, he has reached and stolen second. We'll see what happens.
And this pitch misses outside. 3 balls, 2 strikes the count now. So Carlos Gaithers is due a payoff pitch from Al Gonzalez. Gonzalez checks the runner, gets a sign from Bensfield, and the throw. High. And that'll send Carlos Gaithers down to first base.
Gonzalez has pitched a successful game. The reason why is staying away from the base on balls. That's the first free pass he has allowed.
Richard Booth, the cleanup hitter who drove in the first run of the game. Mike Slater with a single to left center back in the first inning stands in, and he swings and misses the first pitch, and this one gets away from Brinsfield, and both runners will advance. So Carlos Gaithers moves to second on a pass ball, and Mike Slater moves down to third. First base is open. And there are 2 men out here in the third inning, so Booth might not see anything to hit since he is the cleanup hitter.
Booth also got a base hit his first time up. Levi Jones on deck grounded to second base.
This one is right at his noggin, but it was a breaking ball. Curve ball. I don't think he meant to throw that one in there. Booth hits the deck, and that'll even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1 from Gonzalez, swung on and missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Gonzalez trying to reach back and find it here. In a bit of a jam with 2 runners in scoring position, but there are 2 men out. The pitch, swung on and missed, and he does get out of it. Nice job of pitching by Al Gonzalez, who records his third strikeout of the inning. However, one of them reached base on a pass ball. We go to the bottom of the third. The Alabama All-Stars enjoy a 2-1 lead over the North Carolina All-Stars. You're listening to live coverage of the Dixie Boys World Series here at the City Pond Complex in Covington, Georgia. We'll be back with more exciting baseball action after this message.
You sure about that?
These messages.
What?
What?
Oh.
What?
Nothing. I thought you were getting under yourself or something. Hey, you said after this message. I said, you sure? Just trying to be funny. Golly. We're so serious on this podcast.
Are you planning a special get-together with family and friends? Then do it at Pippin's Barbecue. We'll provide the food and the fun for just a few people or a large group. Or if the party's at your place, let us provide the catering while you enjoy the party. Call us ahead of time or stop by Pippin's Barbecue at both our locations.
Our food and our service just can't be beat. You're gonna love what you eat.
Pippin's Barbecue, Highway 20 South in Conyers and on Alcovey Road in Covington.
You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series here on your local sports leader, WGFS AM 1430, Covington.
Welcome back to Covington, Georgia, where we've got a good one brewing here in the Dixie Boys World Series. The Alabama All-Stars have a 2-1 lead over North Carolina. Kevin Trammell, Al Gonzalez, and Ben Mosley will face Richard Booth, the pitcher for North Carolina, who throws the first one outside. I thought that one went to the backstop, but it didn't. Smothered by catcher Jeffrey Jeanette, and it'll be 1 ball, no strikes. Trammell singled and reached second, drove in a run back in the first inning. The pitch is swung on, popped into short left field. This one will drop in for Texas Leaguer, and Trammell has himself a single. That'll bring up Al Gonzalez, the pitcher. He reached on a fielder's choice.
I think our scorebook is 1 batter behind. Gonzalez just got himself a base hit. Mosley now the batter.
That's my error. As The ball goes down to the backstop, and Gonzalez, it is, reaches second on a wild pitch.
Well, Trammell and Gonzalez both major league names, so. And Gonzalez played center field a couple of games ago, just like Juan.
Mosley grounds this one to second base, and he's up with it, throws on in time to retire him at first. But Gonzalez moves over on the play, and he'll be at third base with the man out. That's Robbie Huffstetler, the North Carolina second baseman, who made the play.
Made that play about 6 inches to our right, his left of second base, as he was playing Mosley to pull.
So Mosley advances the runner, and Alabama with something cooking here again in the third inning. Matt Moore, who struck out his first time up, stands in there. It's from the left-hand side. And the first pitch from Booth, this misses low, ball one. And the second pitch misses low, and 2 balls, no strikes to count. All right, how did Trammell get out in the second?
Trammell grounded out to the third baseman for North Carolina, Ryan Register.
I'm caught up now. And the pitch. Hit into the shortstop. He's up with the Gators, throws over, not in time. Not in time. So Moore legs out a single, and that'll be an RBI single as Gonzalez scores on the play.
You really can't charge an error to anybody there because no one made a bad play as far as the defense is concerned. Matt Moore had some speed down the line. Coming out of the left-hander's batter's box also helped him on that play. But an easy ground ball to the shortstop turns into an infield single and a run for the Bama All-Stars.
So the Bama All-Stars now up 3-1 here in the bottom of the third. And Sheldrick Patterson, the big first baseman, will stand in against Richard Booth now. Patterson hit into a fielder's choice in the first inning. And Booth elects to throw over to first base, but Matt Moore is back in plenty of time.
Throughout the afternoon, we'll be updating you on the game on field number 1, Texas versus Tennessee. Score is now tied at 1 as Texas bats in the third.
The pitch with Matt Moore running on the play. The throw goes down, not in time. Thrown a little bit to the first base side of second. Robbie Huffstetler, the second baseman, covering on the play. Jeffrey Jenrette, the catcher, making the throw, but Matt Moore has himself a stolen base.
Jenrette's throw had the distance, but not the location. If it had been in the right spot, I think they might have caught Moore. We haven't seen too many people caught stealing second in this tournament, especially not for Alabama.
I have that as the third stolen base on the afternoon for the Alabama All-Stars. And it's no balls, 1 strike to Patterson. The 0-1 misses inside, about chest high. And that'll even the count at 1-1.
Tennessee just got out of a jam. It was second and third with 2 outs. And one of the Texas batters popped up to the Tennessee right fielder, so it's still tied at 1.
The 1-1, and this one also misses inside, almost the same location as the last pitch. And that'll make it 2 balls, 1 strike to Sheldrick Patterson. Alabama with something cooking again here in the third inning. They've got Matt Moore down at second base with 1 man out and Sheldrick Patterson up. And he's ahead in the count, 2-1. He looks for a hitter's pitch, but it misses low, and now Richard Booth has dug himself a pretty big hole. He's behind 3-1 to Patterson. Runner in scoring position. Eddie Harrion is on deck. He'll be followed by William Wright. The pitch, swung on, fouled, hit the field number sign here. A nice resounding thud. Always like the sound when you have, like at the Newton County baseball field. Listeners here at WGFS know that Newton County is the local high school team. They have wooden signs on the outfield. And I love the sound it makes when the ball clangs off those wooden signs.
It is certainly a distinctive noise and one that cannot be missed.
The payoff pitch to Sheldrick Patterson is chopped, almost a swinging butt, but it goes high. And pitcher Richard Booth comes off and makes the play, but he cannot throw out Patterson in time. It had a high chop, and there was no way that Booth, who made a pretty nice play to get to the ball, although he looked like he was swimming there for a second. But by the time the ball came down, he picked it up and threw on not in time. Matt Moore moves over to third on the play.
North Carolina defenders will have to check their cleats. Something must be going on because they're slipping and sliding all over the field. It hasn't rained here in a couple of days. They can't blame it on that, but for the second time in this game, an out turns into a base hit because a fielder for the North Carolina team stumbles.
And that's the second infield single of the inning for the Alabama All-Stars. Speed kills. The first pitch to Eddie Harrion, and instead Richard Booth steps off and tries the old look at third, fake to first play.
And if Don Sutton were here, he would explain that it is the 4,716th time in a row that play has not worked.
One out, and Patterson's going on the pitch, and there will be no throw. He has himself a stolen base.
I wonder if Sutton ever did execute that play properly.
Somebody, I've seen it done before.
Alan Wiggins was the victim twice in a week. I remember that.
Well, Alan Wiggins had a lot of troubles. The pitch to Harrion, who squares to bunt, misses low, and that'll even the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. First base is open here for the Alabama All-Stars. Sheldrick Patterson's at second, and Matt Moore's at third. Alabama's already scored a run. Swung on and miss, and that'll make it 1 ball, 2 strikes to Eddie Harrion.
Patterson down at second base taking a lead. Check out his lead here, Jamie. He is at least halfway down. Now, he's not as far down now as he was the past couple of pitches. He's about a third of the way now.
And look how far the entire North Carolina infield is in, hoping to make a play at the plate here. Everybody's on the grass. The pitch to Harrion, who is bunting, misses outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes now the count.
To give you an idea of how far off Patterson is playing, the shortstop, Carlos Gaithers, is on the edge of the infield grass. Over toward the third base side. Patterson is behind him.
And the pitch swung on, fouled back. And now those North Carolina infielders have got their hearts had to jump in their throats seeing Harrion swing away like that. Everybody's right on top of him. Second baseman Robbie Huffstetler in on the grass. Shortstop Carlos Gaithers in on the grass. Levi Jones at first base and Ryan Register at third base, all even with the bag. And the pitch. Misses way outside. Curveball. 3 balls, 2 strikes now the count to Eddie Harrion. So the payoff pitch due to Eddie Harrion, runners at second and third, and it's right over the plate for called strike 3.
Harrion has had his troubles at the plate. Last inning, he struck out swinging. This inning, striking out looking in a big situation, and now North Carolina infielders don't have to be as scared of the batter. They can move back another several steps back to the normal positions.
That's 2 outs now in the inning. And William Wright will step up there and try to drive in a couple of runs with a base hit. Matt Moore is at third. Sheldrick Patterson's at first. And the pitch. Swung on, fouled into the backstop. Again, Patterson with a gigantic lead at second base. The left side of the North Carolina infield has been playing every right-handed hitter to pull. And so consequently we have the shortstop almost exactly halfway between second and third base. Third baseman almost even with the bag. The pitch from Booth. Swung on, fouled back again. And Wright is in the hole. No balls, 2 strikes.
Lots of folks are here from the host team, Covington Newton County team. Those folks were eliminated in 2 games, but they are here every night for the tournament. Being the host team, they have been a very gracious host throughout the tournament.
Booth steps off the mound, and Wright steps out of the box and takes a practice cut or 2. Patterson with a huge lead at second. A base hit will score both runs. And the 0-2 misses high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Big hole up the middle for the hitter William Wright. The 1-2. And this also misses. This time it's a curveball low and almost in the dirt. And that'll fill the count, even the count rather, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Booth looks in, gets the sign, and pitches. Oh, he just missed the outside corner with that one, and that'll fill the count. 3 balls and 2 strikes to William Wright.
Interesting note about the North Carolina defense here on Wright. Center fielder playing him to hit the other way. In fact, he's a good 5 or 6 steps to his left of second base.
Wright did single to left field his first time up, came around to score. And the payoff pitch is a called strike at the knees, and that'll do it for the Alabama All-Stars. But not before they do pick up a run on 3 hits. And we go to the top of the 4th inning. We're through 3 here at the City Pond Complex here in Covington, Georgia. You're listening to live coverage of the Dixie Boys World Series. We'll be back with even more baseball action after this message.
Oh, it was terrible. Last night I dreamed that I didn't have HBO. I turned on the television, and all the movies had commercials every 15 minutes. The series were old and had been in syndication since 1976. It was horrible. I tried every channel, but it was hopeless. I couldn't find HBO. But then I woke up. I ran to my TV, and there it was, HBO, with uncut and uninterrupted movies like A League of Their Own, Mo Money, Whispers in the Dark, and Strapped, an HBO original movie, plus top comedy series like Dream On and The Larry Sanders Show starring Gary Shandling, not to mention World Championship Boxing and Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam. Believe me, having HBO is a dream come true, but trying to live without it is a nightmare. So wake up and, get HBO.
Call Covington Cable TV 787-4444. 787-4444.
You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series here on your local sports leader, WGFS AM 1430 Covington.
Three to 1, Alabama leads it over North Carolina here at City Pond Complex in Covington, Georgia. Welcome back to the Dixie Boys World Series. The North Carolina All-Stars will send Levi Jones, Ryan Register, and Jeffrey Jenrette to try their luck against pitcher Al Gonzalez here in the top of the 4th inning. Levi Jones leads off and swings at the first pitch and fouls it down the left field line. Gonzalez got into a bit of a jam back in the 3rd inning, but managed to pitch out of it. It was not a jam of his own making, however. He got 3 strikeouts on the inning, but one of those strikeout victims managed to reach on a passed ball. He advanced to 3rd base. Gonzalez walked the next hitter, but left them both on the paths. The 0-1. Swung on and missed. Good pitch. Another curveball. Fine curveball from Al Gonzalez. And Levi Jones was bailing out all the way on that pitch. And he's quickly in the hole. No balls and 2 strikes. The 0-2 from Gonzalez, who's working quickly now. Grounded a shortstop. And that's Kevin Trammell. All he can do is smother that one. He has no play. And Levi Jones has an infield single.
Perfectly hit ground ball if you're a hitter to the 3rd base side of shortstop, and the the 3rd baseman for Alabama, Matt Moore, tried to cross in front and make the play, couldn't do so, and by the time Trammell got to it, he had no play.
That'll bring up Ryan Register, a strikeout victim back in the 2nd inning. Levi Jones builds the lead at first. The pitch from Gonzalez. Jones is running on the play, and Brinsfield cannot get the ball out of his mitt. There will be no throw.
Levi Jones with a stolen base. 3rd stolen base for the North Carolina team in this game. They're going to try to use speed as well, considering that this may be a low-scoring affair comparative to the other ball games we've seen in this tournament. There may be a lot of stealing and bunting later on in this game.
Gonzalez checks the runner. He gets the sign. He squares to bunt and tries to bunt, but misses it way outside. Ryan Register, the hitter, watches the count run up even on him, 1-1. I think he was specifically told to try to bunt that pitch, Kevin. He tried to chase it down the 1st base line.
Well, the coaches tell you to try to bunt a strike, so apparently he had the bunt sign because he bunted that pitch way outside and low.
Now Gonzalez throws back to 2nd. Not in time. That ball almost went into center field. Kevin Trammell, the shortstop, with a nice sliding catch to try to keep that one from causing a lot of trouble for Alabama.
Tomorrow, your phrase that picked off the shortstop and the runner.
Gonzalez checks his sign and the pitch. This one just missed outside. 2 balls, 1 strike now the count. Trammell also playing way over, away from second base. He's almost halfway to third base, just like the North Carolina shortstop Gaithers has been doing. So any throw over to second base is going to be tough for him to get. The pitch from Gonzalez is fouled back over the press box.
Thought that one was closer to us than it was. Must have been popped back over the press box because I tried to make an attempt for that foul ball, and by the time I got out there, it was gone. I'm not satisfied with just one foul ball. I think I'll have to catch a second one.
Register digs in there now. Gonzalez with the 2-2, swung on and missed, struck him out. This one gets away from Brinsfield, but he's able to tag out the runner in time. And that's the first out. And the 6th, 7th, 8th strikeout of the game for Al Gonzalez.
Number 5, Jeffrey Ginrett.
8 strikeouts through 4 innings for Al Gonzalez, the Alabama right-hander. And he'll face Jeffrey Ginrett, who was also a strikeout victim back in the second. The first pitch to him, and a bender that misses inside. 1 ball and no strikes. That's Levi Jones down at second base for North Carolina. Al Gonzalez trying to leave him there. He's going on the pitch, but it's swung on, popped into left field. William Wright, the left fielder, comes on, makes the catch. And Levi Jones will return to second base as Jones throws the ball back to the cutoff man.
Heads up base running by Jones, who ran several steps off of second base, and once he saw the pop fly was hit, he returned back to second base quickly, and the ball dropped pretty fast, so if he had not returned that quickly, there may have been a play there at second base.
Not a lot of balls hit into the outfield against Al Gonzalez. That one was a pretty sharp, he hit it pretty right on the button, but Alabama had Jeffrey Ginrett, the hitter, played perfectly. That'll bring up Ashley Cartret, grounded out to shortstop, his first time up back in the second inning. Swings and misses at the first pitch from Al Gonzalez. No balls, 1 strike. 2 men out here in the 4th inning, top of the 4th. And the 0-1 is popped on into short center field. Going back with a nice play is Juneau, the second baseman. And Donald Juneau makes a nice running catch in the outfield to end the inning. So that'll do it for the North Carolina All-Stars, who strand their leadoff runner at second base. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Alabama has a 3-1 lead over North Carolina. You're listening to live coverage of the Dixie Boys World Series here from City Pond Complex in Covington, Georgia. We'll be back with more exciting baseball action after this.
The City of Covington electric system marches to the beat of a different drummer. The difference is community ownership. Because it's public power, our consumers and owners determine the cadence for electric service in this community. Everyone here is a utility owner. Public power systems are not run for profit. That means all the benefits stay in our community. Local control also means that everyone has a say in how our electric utility can help meet our community's goals. The tempo in our community is set to the needs of our public power customer owners. That's consumer protection at its best. Look at public power in a new light. After all, it's yours.
You ever had one of them mornings where you just couldn't wake up because you didn't sleep worth a flip all night? Well, join us this Friday morning for a health line as we talk about insomnia and some of the many things that cause it, affect it, and what goes on with the sleep. That's Friday the 13th. We're going to learn something good about insomnia, so mark your calendars now for 8:40 a.m.
Covington's radio station, AM 1430, WGFS.
Daphne, Alabama, North Carolina from East Columbus County, North Carolina. Columbus County East. I'll get it right in just a second. Alabama will sing Kevin Brinsfield, and then the top of the order, Donald Juneau and Kevin Trammell up to face Richard Booth, the right-hander for the North Carolina All-Stars. Brinsfield popped to first on a foul ball, his first time up back in the second inning. Handling the catching duties. And the first pitch from Booth. Swung on, fouled back. James Windham with you this afternoon. My broadcast partner is Kevin Holden, joining you from Thank you for joining us, from Covington, Georgia. Thanks to our listeners down in Baymonette, Alabama on WBCA, and of course our listeners here at Covington on WGFS AM 1430. The 0-1 is bounced up to the backstop from Richard Booth, and that'll even the count to Kevin Brinsfield. 1 ball, 1 strike. Top of the order due up next for Alabama. That'll be Donald Juneau and Kevin Trammell. As Alabama looks to build on its lead here in the bottom of the 4th. We've got a delay in the action now, and some new baseballs come on the field. Brinsfield stands out and takes a couple of practice cuts. Alabama got here after beating Mississippi yesterday afternoon 11-7. North Carolina blanked Florida and sent the Florida All-Stars home with a 2-0 win last night in the second game of last night's action. The loser here goes home. The 1-1 on the outside corner. Good fastball from Richard Booth. And it's 1 ball, 2 strikes to Kevin Brinsfield. The 1-2 from Richard Booth, swung on, popped to first base. Levi Jones, the first baseman, able to squeeze the play and squeeze the ball in foul territory for the first out of the inning. So that's the second time in the game that Kevin Brinsfield has popped into foul territory on the first base side to be retired. Leadoff hitter Donald Juneau, who walked, stole second, and scored in the first. Looks at a strike, called strike. Good fastball from Richard Booth. And he scored in the first inning. In the second inning, he singled, reached second on an error, and scored in the second. And this one's on the outside corner. No balls, 2 strikes. That's correct. Juneau is in the hole 0-2 by Richard Booth. The 0-2 swung on, chopped down the third base line, foul. And the pitch from Richard Booth. This is a called strike, and that'll do it for Donald Juneau. Second out of the inning. 1, 2, 3. 6 strikeouts on the game for Richard Booth. Shortstop Kevin Trammell, who singled back in the first, reached second on an error and scored, and then he grounded out in the 5th inning to the third baseman. First pitch from Booth, swung on, hit sharply to third. Up with it is Ryan Register. He throws over to Levi Jones in time, and that'll do it for the Alabama All-Stars. Alabama still has a 3-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, or rather the top of the 5th inning. You're listening to live coverage of the Dixie Boys World Series here from City Pond Complex in Covington, Georgia. We'll be back with more exciting baseball action after this.
Why do people go to Pippen's Barbecue? Because they've heard about the great food, great service, and great prices. Pippen's Barbecue has delicious baby back ribs, Brunswick stew, and smoked chicken. But no matter what you try, you're going to love what you eat at Pippen's Barbecue.
Our food and our service just can't be beat. You're going to love what you eat.
Pippen's Barbecue, Highway 20 South in Conyers and on Alcovey Road in Covington.
County, now you have a choice. That choice is Rockdale Team Sports, located in Salem Gate Shopping Center in Conyers. Rockdale Team Sports provides you with everything you'll need for baseball, softball, basketball, football, and soccer. Take advantage of our fast in-house custom lettering and screen printing. We also offer low prices, friendly service, and a complete uniform service. Rockdale Team Sports would like to congratulate all the participants in this year's Little League World Series, and especially the city of Covington.
You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series here on your local sports leader, WGFS AM 1430, Covington.
Welcome back to beautiful Covington, Georgia, site of the Dixie Boys World Series here at City Pond Complex. I'm James Windham, and I've been doing the play-by-play, but about to turn it over to my broadcast partner, who will take over with Alabama leading 3-1 here in the 5th inning. Kevin Holden, take it away.
Why, thank you very much, James Windham, and we head to the top half of the 5th inning. For North Carolina here in the 5th, they'll send up spots 9, 1, and 2. Jason Hemingway due up first for North Carolina. Hemingway struck out his first time up. Al Gonzalez is into the wind. His first pitch swung on and missed as the fastball was just off the outside part, 0-1. North Carolina with a run on 3 hits. Alabama with 3 runs, and in the first 3 innings they had 6 hits. Not sure about what they did in the 4th inning. We'll catch up on that in a moment. The 0-1 pitch low and outside, a ball and a strike.
Both pitchers, Kevin, have really settled down and are pitching quite well here after struggling. Well, neither one of them is really what you could call struggled. Both pitchers pitching brilliantly.
1-1 pitch is swung on and missed. Great off-speed pitch, had him out in front, 1-2.
And that's the big reason that both pitchers have done well. We saw a great fastball, a nice crisp fastball from Richard Booth back in the last half inning. And Al Gonzalez having full command of his breaking ball and his fastball throughout this game. Both pitchers locked in a good battle.
And Gonzalez again goes into the wind and he fires. Swung on and missed. And down on strikes for Hemingway. Second time today that Hemingway has gone down on strikes, and for Gonzalez, that is strikeout number 7.
Gee, I hate to tell you this, but that was Matt Gore, pinch hitter for Hemingway.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. We can make the change in our lineup card here. Matt Gore was the pinch hitter, so Jason Hemingway, we apologize for telling you that you just struck out while you're sitting on the bench watching Mr. Gore strike out. Either way, it's an out. For the first out here in the 5th inning, Robbie Huffstetler, the batter, takes the first pitch, grounds it on 1 hop to the third baseman. Making the play is Matt Moore on to first for the second out of the 5th inning. So Gonzalez again pitching well. He's retired 5 in a row. And with 2 down, here is Mike Slater. Slater has reached base twice. He singled and scored in the first inning. And in the third, he struck out, but he reached as the ball got by Kevin Brinsfield, the catcher. Slater, right-handed batter, standing in. Brinsfield with the sign, the wind and the pitch. Called strike, inside corner. Again, using the off-speed to get ahead in the count. 0-1. Gonzalez is throwing both the fastball and the breaking ball for strikes right now. Again, he goes into the wind. 0-1 pitch, swung on and missed. Had him bailing out, 0-2.
And that's just like exactly the same swing that Slater struck out on back in the 3rd inning. He's stepping away, stepping in the bucket down third base.
Gonzalez the wind, 0-2 pitch, stepped in the bucket again, grounds it to the third baseman. Moore can't make the play on this one. Safe at first is Mike Slater. Ball took a tough bounce. Call could go either way, but it looks like it's going to be an E. That's an error on the third baseman. So the official score for this game gives an error to third baseman Matt Moore, and with 2 down and a runner at first, here is Carlos Gaithers. North Carolina shortstop is 0 for 1. Struck out in the first inning and walked in the third.
I don't know, Kevin. Do you think that one took a bad hop on him, or do you think it looked to me like he just caught it on the short hop?
That is a possibility. Well, either way, it is considered an error in this situation. With Slater reaching base, Moore would have had a play if he had fielded it cleanly. Runner going with the pitch. It's a strike. Good throw down to second base, but it gets away from the second baseman into the outfield, and Slater will move over to third. Stolen base for Mike Slater. He reaches third on the error.
That's his 3rd stolen base of the game, Kevin, and fielding error there on the second baseman, Robbie. That's Donald Juneau at second base.
And a runner at third now for North Carolina with 2 down. 0-1 the count to Carlos Gaithers. Gaithers, right-handed batter, standing back in the back part of the batter's box, looking for that off-speed pitch from Gonzalez. Here's the wind in the pitch. It is an off-speed, almost hits him inside. 1-1.
Actually, Kevin, I don't think that would have hit him. It looked like it bit around him. That's how effective Gonzalez's breaking ball has been. He ducked, and the ball looked like it was behind his back.
The wind, the 1-1 pitch, swung on, grounded again to Moore. Oh, good. On to first. 4 out number 3. That'll do it for North Carolina. no hits, a couple of errors, but a runner left at third base. And after 4.5, your score won in favor of the Alabama All-Stars. You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series from City Pond Complex in Covington, Georgia. It's the Alabama All-Stars taking on the All-Stars from the state of North Carolina. And we'll be back with more live baseball action from the City Pond Complex for you after this.
The folks at Carroll Home Healthcare want you to know why they are growing so fast. It's simple. They care. They try to treat customers like family. Whether you or a loved one needs oxygen, a hospital bed, a lift chair, or just new tips on a walker, come by and get that family feeling that their customers are talking about. They're at Covington Plaza next to McDonald's. Call them at 786-2030 and find out what they can do for you. Carroll Home Healthcare, the family place, 786-2030.
In today's world, it's hard to find time for one more business luncheon, one more Girl Scout meeting, one more soccer practice. It seems that everything is vying for prime time in our busy schedules. But one thing that can fit into any schedule is the cable news network. CNN is news around the clock 7 days a week. CNN continually keeps you up to date on breaking news. Call Covington Cable TV for CNN, 787-4444. That's 787-4444 for CNN.
You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series here on your local sports leader, WGFS AM 1430 Covington.
Back as we head to the bottom half of the fifth inning. North Carolina taking on Alabama here at City Pond Complex. It's the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series from Covington, Georgia. First pitch is a ball outside. 1-0. The batter for Alabama is the pitcher, Gonzalez, who has reached base both times, once on a single and once on a fielder's choice. Wind and the pitch, swung on, grounded on two hops. Gathers, the shortstop, makes the play on to first for the out. Good play by Gathers and a good stretch by the North Carolina first baseman, Levi Jones. One down, Ben Mosley will come up now. Mosley is 0 for 2. Struck out in the first and grounded out in the third. Into the wind and the pitch. Line shot left field. It will fall in for a base hit. So Ben Mosley with hit number 7 for Alabama. And all 7 of them have been singles.
Nothing cheap about that one, Kevin. He really drilled that one into left field. Left fielder Ashley Cartret came up with it on a couple of hops.
So Alabama with another base runner, and this base runner has a lot of speed. We've seen Mosley steal some bases in this tournament. Mosley had a stolen base against Mississippi yesterday as the throw goes to first. Back safely as the ball gets away from the first baseman, Levi Jones, but Mosley cannot advance. Mosley stole 2 bases against Arkansas a couple of days back. Matt Moore, a left-handed batter. He's the third baseman for the Alabama All-Stars. He's 1 for 2. With a strikeout and a single, runner going on the pitch. Throw down to second is not in time. Pitch to Moore was outside for a ball, and Mosley has his first stolen base of the game and the 5th for the Alabama team here in this tournament.
In our other game, Kevin, the Texas All-Stars have now taken a 3-1 lead over Tennessee.
That Texas All-Star team cannot be held down on offense. Probably the best offensive team here in this tournament. The 1-0 pitch instead to second, and by the second baseman into center field. Mosley will head to third. Second baseman for North Carolina, Robbie Huffstetler, looking a little bit flabbergasted there as Mosley appeared to obstruct Huffstetler and trying to reach for the throw. The throw went to the left of both of them. Mosley on one side of Huffstetler and the throw on the other side. Here's the wind. Runner on third and the pitch is back to the screen. Good play from Jen Rett to keep the runner from scoring.
Ball bounced right back to Jen Rett. It was a little bit of good luck, too, for him. Not much territory behind home plate here. A catcher can pretty much easily get to the ball and cut down the runner at the plate.
Now time called. North Carolina head coach goes out to talk to his pitcher, and he'll call out the entire infield for a conference. And as you mentioned, it's 3-1 in favor of Texas. And looking over there now, looks like Tennessee has got themselves a rally going. It's now 3-3 in the 4th inning, so just like that, Tennessee puts a couple of runs on the board. And Texas, after having a stellar first couple of days, they lost last night to South Carolina 11-10, and now battling with Tennessee. Loser of that game goes home.
Well, there are two things that you find out for sure the later you go in these kind of tournaments, Kevin. And one is you find out what kind of pitching you have when you get into these tournaments, because you got to keep coming back with kids who have pitched at the beginning, and you got to find out how deep your staff is. Two, you see better and better ball games as the competition gets tougher and tougher. We've got two good examples going on right here. 3-1 on this field, 3-3 over there.
Stretch and the pitch, swung on and missed. Moore going for that outside fastball. Didn't take much of a swing at that one. As the count now 2 balls and a strike to Moore. The stretch. Richard Booth delivers. Swung on line, left center field. Base hit, 1 run will score. Alabama pads its lead, now 4-1 on the RBI single by Matt Moore. That's Moore's second base hit of the afternoon.
And, Kevin, that's the first time all ball game. Well, they did do it in the third inning with infield singles, but first time all ball game that Alabama's been able to put back-to-back hits together against Richard Booth. They did it back in the third inning, but that was a little bad luck for Booth, as a couple of, some balls hit sharply into the hole, and one ball that was a swinging bunt for all practical purposes.
Once again, Alabama taking care of business via the stolen base and by the opponent's miscues. Mosley singled, stole second, reached third on the air, then scored on the single.
That is also the second RBI of the game for Matt Moore.
Throw goes over to first base, and Moore back standing up. Sheldrick Patterson is the batter. He wrapped into a force play his first time, singled in the third. Patterson stands in, catcher sets up outside, pitches on the outside corner with the fastball, 0-1. Again, the North Carolina defense playing Patterson to pull over on that left side of the infield.
Patterson with a long look at the signs from third base coach Butch Trammell. Maybe Alabama has something going on here.
Booth thought so. He threw over to first base, and Moore again is back safely.
Maybe you could try to find out if Patterson would tip him off a little bit there, maybe squirt a bunt as he threw over to first, but Patterson didn't give anything away if Alabama does have something going on this play.
The stretch by Booth, runner going on the pitch, swung on, grounded to the shortstop, gathers. He'll have no play at second. His only play will be to first. It is in time. And 6-3 goes the play. And Alabama using their speed again for a good result as they stay out of the double play on the steal.
Gathers had absolutely no play at second base on Matt Moore. He was in safely and very quickly. Got down the bag, got an early jump on pitcher Richard Booth, and as you said, Kevin, they did stay out of the double play.
Runner at second now with 2 down. Alabama has already plated 1 here in the 5th inning. They have a 4-1 lead over the All-Stars from North Carolina. Loser of this game is eliminated from the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series. Only half the teams remain.
Got a pinch hitter now. Josh Lentz will stand in there and pinch hit for Eddie Harrion.
Harrion had a rough day. 2 at-bats, 2 strikeouts. So Lentz coming on a pinch hitting roll. Takes the first pitch right down the pipe on the fastball, 0-1. No balls and 1 strike. Josh Lentz pinch hit last night as well in the game against Mississippi. Stretch and the pitch, swung on, grounded down the first base line, foul, 0-2.
Matt Moore was running on the play, but of course the ball was hit foul by Josh Lentz. Alabama now starting to crank it up a little bit offensively, at least on the base pads.
Josh Lentz, in his pinch hitting role, had an RBI single in the 7th inning for Alabama. They put some insurance runs on the board in that 7th inning. They turned out to be important ones. As Mississippi came back with a few runs of their own in the 7th, Alabama still won the game 11-7. Pitch is high and inside. A ball and 2 strikes to Josh Lentz.
And Kevin, this is exactly what what Richard Booth did not want. He was cruising through the order pretty well until he got into this bumpy 5th inning. He's thrown a lot of pitch.
Carolina, you're listening to our coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series. Mississippi eliminated from the tournament yesterday by Alabama, who is trying to do the same to North Carolina today, leading 4-1. And we will be back with more exciting baseball action after this.
Cable News Network brings the world into your home. Their aggressive professional reporters cover stories to their fullest, providing you the chance to witness history in the making. Whether it be the rainforest in the Amazons or the country roads of Kansas, CNN is there around the clock breaking and updating news. Hear firsthand news that will impact today and shape tomorrow. Subscribe to the Cable News Network. Call Covington Cable TV at 787-4444. That's 787-4444 for CNN.
So Carroll Home Healthcare carries all your home care equipment needs. Oxygen, hospital beds, enteral feeding, walkers, commodes, lift chairs, or bath seats, we can meet your needs. We're the home with a family feeling. Medicare, Medicaid, and most insurance companies are welcome. Come by and let us meet your home care equipment needs. We're at Covington Plaza next to McDonald's. Carroll Home Healthcare, 786-2030. That's Carroll Home Healthcare, 786-2030. You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series here on your local sports leader, WGFS AM 1430, Covington.
We head to the 6th inning. First batter for North Carolina is the pitcher, Richard Booth. Booth, a right-handed batter, standing in. First pitch was a strike. Gonzalez into the wind. The 0-1 pitch swung on, grounded to Moore at third base. He takes it and fires to first for out number 1. On the play, Booth stumbling as he passes first base, taking a head-first tumble. He's okay, though, and sprints back to the dugout just to show everyone that he's okay. 5-3 on your putout. Here is Jones, 1 for 2, with a ground out and a single. North Carolina needing base runners. They have 2 more cracks at the Alabama All-Stars, down 3 runs. There's a called strike. Great breaking ball. Gonzalez starting it up around the armpits, dropping it down right down the middle. And Jones has a smile on his face as he was bailing out on that one. The 0-1 pitch swung on and missed. Again, using the breaking ball to perfection, 0-2.
Alabama's looking better and better as they progress through this tournament with a solid, nice, strong, long, solid performance by as the next pitch sails way inside and forces Jones to skip rope a little bit. A nice, long, solid performance from Matt Moore on the mound yesterday, pitching into the 7th inning. Looks like Gonzalez might do the same thing today.
Make this change in your scorecard. Eddie Harrion has re-entered in right field as the pitch goes back to the screen, 2-2. He had left the game for a pinch hitter, but now has been re-entered, so Eddie Harrion back in right field for the Alabama All-Stars. Levi Jones, 2-2 the count. Winding the 2-2 pitch, swung on, just got a piece of it. Fouled it off, 2-2 remains the count.
And this is a solid, impressive ball club for Alabama. There's nothing these guys would like better than to take another shot at Texas.
And Texas is over on field 1. Taking on Tennessee, score is tied at 3 in the 5th inning. Greg Lee on the mound for Texas. There's a swing and a ground ball, great play, ranging to his left. Trammell up, throw on to first is not in time. Gets away from the first baseman.
Ball got away from Sheldrick Patterson there, who was in a deep stretch there at first base. The base runner Jones tried to look like he was going to cut into second. Then he cut back, and Jones and Patterson alertly picked up the ball and tagged him as he went back to first, thinking maybe he made a cut towards second. I thought he turned towards second and went inside the base paths.
Umpire called him safe, perhaps a break for the North Carolina team.
Now Jones a little gimpy after the play. He's up kind of walking around shaking it off down there.
And a lefty coming on to pinch hit here for Ryan Register. We'll catch the name as they announce it.
That's Kendrick Green.
Kendrick Green coming out to pinch hit for Register, who was 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. So Green, the pinch hitter here in the 6th inning, as North Carolina looking to bolster their offense. They picked up a run in the first. They have had only 2 base hits since that first inning, both by Levi Jones. Jones stands at first base and takes his lead, and the throw goes over, and he is back in safely.
Looks like Jones might have been, or at least Alabama thought Jones might be pulling the old Terry Pendleton play. You just beat a close play at first, and then you come up gimpy, and he's stealing.
Here's a throw down to second base. It is not in time, and it looks like he did pull that old Pendleton play, acting gimpy down at first, and then all of a sudden taking off at full speed for second base. Alabama wasn't fooled. It was just a good jump by Jones. We've seen lots of stolen bases of second in this tournament, and at this level, the catcher's arms really haven't developed to the point where they can throw out those runners at second base on a consistent basis, so the running game's sort of rampant here in the World Series.
There aren't a lot of levels where the catcher's arms are that developed.
Stretch by Gonzalez and the 0-1 pitch.
That's one of the hardest things you can do in baseball is come out of the crouch and try to throw a runner out at second base.
0-1 pitch is low and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Kendrick Green. Green, the first lefty we've seen from North Carolina, standing in. 1-1 pitch is a called strike in the inside part. On the breaking ball, 1-2. Brinsfield gives the sign. Levy Jones off second base, the stretch by Gonzalez, and the 1-2 pitch just missed outside, 2-2.
Tell you what, Kevin, what North Carolina sending in the left-handed pinch hitter, what they'd like for him to do is pull the ball so he can advance the runner over to the third base, hit it to the right side. But if Gonzalez keeps that ball on the outside part of the plate, there's no way he's going to be able to do that.
On deck is Jen Red, who is 0 for 2 as the pitch is low, and a full count now to Green, 3-2.
Now Kendrick is just going to be up there to try to, Green rather is going to be up there just try to protect the plate.
3-2 pitch is low and inside. Kendrick Green, a good eye with 2 strikes. Working Gonzalez for the walk, and first and second now for North Carolina and 1 down. Chance to do some damage and cut into that Alabama lead. Here is Jeffrey Jenrette.
That's only the second walk of the ball game for Al Gonzalez, who's had exceptional control through the day.
Jenrette is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a flyout. Jenrette with the RBI opportunity here, 1 down in the 6th. Gonzalez checks the runner at second, and he delivers. Called strike inside part. The breaking ball had Jenrette bailing out, 0-1. We've seen that so many times today. An excellent curveball from Gonzalez. The stretch. The 0-1 pitch swung on, chopped at the plate. Shortstop will come over. Trammell will have no play, though, as the Baltimore chop, as they call it, loads up the bases for North Carolina with 1 down.
Second infield base hit of the inning for the North Carolina All-Stars. Still looking to hit a ball sharply for the first time this afternoon, this inning.
North Carolina has not crushed the ball in this inning, but they have the bases loaded nonetheless, and that's something they haven't done yet in this ball game. Bases loaded, 1 out. And here is Ashley Cartret with the RBI opportunity. 0 for 2, and he checks his third base coach for the signs.
It's gut check time now for the Alabama defense, which is coming up, which has arisen to the occasion on plays like this and situations like this through the last 2 games.
Gonzalez pitching from the windup. His first pitch is swung on, grounded up the middle. Ranging to his left is Trammell. He steps on second. That's his only play. Great play from Trammell. Ranging over towards second base to make the play and step on the bag, just barely beating Jenrette to the bag. 1 run scores, 4-2 is now your score, and Cartret reaches on the fielder's choice.
Give Cartret an RBI on the play. As the North Carolina All-Stars have the lead, 4-2.
Runners at first and third, and 2 down. The batter is either Jason Hemingway or Matt Gore. We'll check our scorecards and see who it is. Runner going on the pitch. There will be no throw down there as the pitch comes in outside. 1 ball and no strikes.
Again, Kevin, that's almost unfair to give the runner a stolen base on that play. With the runner at third, very few catchers are going to try to attempt to throw down to second, although we did see Mississippi in desperation attempt that yesterday a couple of times.
Hemingway stands in, looks at a strike on the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Is that Hemingway up there? Matt Gore pinch hit for him in the 5th inning.
That is Hemingway. He has re-entered the game.
So Hemingway is back as he chops 1 foul down the third base line, 1-2. Hemingway, first and third. Chance for an RBI. A base hit will drive in 1 and cut that Alabama lead to 1 run.
Pardon me, Kevin, second and third.
That's right, it's now second and third with the stolen base. So Hemingway, a single could tie the ball game. Gonzalez, the wind and the pitch. Glad you're here, Jamie, by the way. Low and inside with the off-speed, 2-2. Cartret is at second. Kendrick Green is at third, 2 down. And Brinsfield gives the sign to his pitcher. Gonzalez needing one more strike to get out of this jam. The wind, 2-2 pitch, called strike 3. Inside corner, and Gonzalez, an excellent breaking ball. Catches Hemingway looking. That'll do it for North Carolina. They pick up a run on 2 base hits, no errors, and they leave 2 big runners on base. Alabama maintains the lead 4-2 after 5.5 innings of play, and you are listening to our live coverage of the Dixie Boys World Series here from City Pond Complex in Covington, Georgia. It's the Alabama All-Stars versus the North Carolina All-Stars, and we'll be back with more exciting baseball action for you. That will come up right after these messages.
Oh, it was terrible. Last night I dreamed that I didn't have HBO. I turned on the television, and all the movies had commercials every 15 minutes. The series were old and had been in syndication since 1976. It was horrible. I tried every channel, but it was hopeless. I couldn't find HBO. But then I woke up. I ran to my TV, and there it was, HBO, with uncut and uninterrupted movies like A League of Their Own, Mo Money, Whispers in the Dark, and Strapped, an HBO original movie, plus top comedy series like Dream On and The Larry Sanders Show starring Gary Shandling, not to mention World Championship Boxing and Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam. Believe me, having HBO is a dream come true, but trying to live without it is a nightmare. So wake up and, get HBO.
Call Covington Cable TV 787-4444. 787-4444.
You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series here on your local sports leader, WGFS AM 1430 Covington.
We go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Alabama leading North Carolina 4-2. And here in the bottom half of the 6th, the Alabama All-Stars will send up William Wright and a pinch hitter for Kevin Brinsfield. Then the top of the order and Donald Juneau.
We've got a situation going on the field next to us, Kevin. They're locked in a 3-3 tie in the 5th inning, but with 2 men out, Tennessee has the bases loaded.
Keep watching that game, Jamie, and we'll check on this one. The wind and the first pitch to Wright is inside for a ball. Wright is 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout. Wright checks his third base coach for the sign. A couple of exciting ball games going on here, both losers bracket games. Losers of these 2 games are out of the Dixie Boys World Series. There's a called strike outside corner, 1-1. A ball and a strike to William Wright as Cody Frost batting for Tennessee over on field number 1.
Struck him out.
Meanwhile, over here, here's a ground ball to the second baseman, Huffstetler, over to first, and that'll be out number 1.
And the Texas pitcher has just come up with a strikeout to get out of the inning. They go to the top of the 6th inning, still tied 3-3. Tough jam Texas just got out of.
Now a pitch hitter. Pinch hitter is Brian Hayes.
Brian Purple Hayes.
Berman makes his mark again. There's a called strike in the outside corner. 0-1.
You just got to put the name and the uniform color together.
That's true. I didn't think about that. Alabama wearing purple and gold on white. Here's the wind. Booth delivers high and outside, a ball and a strike.
North Carolina wearing black jerseys with orange lettering.
So Brian Hayes with a pinch hitter here in the 6th. Hayes the pinch hitter with a count of 1-1. Fouls one off. 1-2 the count. Alabama coach has already announced that Brinsfield will go back in for defense in the 7th inning. It'll be North Carolina's last shot in the 7th, and in that inning they will send to the plate the top of their order, Huffstetler, Slater, and Gathers. Booth the wind, the 1-2 pitch. Back to the screen, way outside, 2-2. Six teams have been eliminated from the tournament.
And 6 teams have been elated.
So far, and 2 teams will not be elated after these games are over with. Here's Booth into the wind, the 2-2 pitch, swung on, fouled off the screen, count remains 2-2. On the first day of play, the 3 teams that were eliminated were the host team. Also, Virginia was eliminated on that first day of play, and Arkansas.
Oh, I just thought that's what I was drinking. Lemonade.
Hayes standing back in there. Booth into the wind and the 2-2 pitch. Swung and foul back to the screen. Count remains 2-2. Lemonade here at the Dixie Boys World Series Tournament, some of the finest in the Southeast. Lots of folks have sung the praises of that lemonade. Very good stuff.
It is quite good.
The pitch is low and outside. Booth trying to catch Hayes out in front on the off speed. Count goes full 3-2. One down here in the bottom of the sixth. Alabama trying to extend their 2-run lead. Payoff pitch right down the pipe called strike 3. Looked like Hayes was looking for a walk, did not get it there.
Eight strikeouts on the afternoon for Richard Booth.
Booth has pitched well. Gave up a run to Alabama in the first inning, another run in the third, and a run in the fifth. Also a run in the second inning. That accounts for the 4 Alabama runs. Pitch is outside for a ball. So Alabama 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fifth. And for North Carolina, their 2 runs have come 1 in the first and 1 in the sixth. They'll have to score at least 2 in the 7th inning. Here's the wind by Booth and the pitch inside. 2-0. Jeffrey Jenrette flashes the sign to his pitcher. Richard Booth nods, goes into his wind, and he fires. Just a little bit low. Pardon me, fouled it off at the plate. And the count will be 2-1.
You were
sort of a half-hearted swing by Juneau. Go ahead, sorry.
Excuse me, Kevin. We'll wait until the pitch from Booth, which will be
swung on and
chopped foul down the third base line. You're talking about what a fine job Richard Booth has done on the mound for North Carolina All-Stars today. You know, Kevin, he walked the leadoff batter who came around to score. That was Donald Juneau back in the first inning. Walked the first batter he faced and hasn't walked anybody since.
He also has 8 strikeouts, if I count correctly.
That's correct.
There's a swing and a pop fly into shallow right field. Right fielder on his horse cannot make the play. And Juneau with the 2-out base hit. So Booth keeping the strikeout to walk ratio down. As we mentioned, he's pitched well. He has not given up an extra base hit to the Alabama All-Stars. But Alabama doesn't need the extra base hit to score because of all the stolen bases that they have been getting throughout the tournament. Several more stolen bases today. And each time they steal a base, it leads to a run. In fact, of the 4 runs that have scored for Alabama, 3 of them stole a base. Throw goes over to first, runner back safely. I'm talking about the runner before he scored. Stole a base in 3 of those 4 runs for Alabama. Kevin Trammell is the batter who is 1 for 3. A couple of ground outs to the third baseman and a single.
Trammell has an RBI after Donald Juneau stole second in the first inning, and Trammell drove him in. He fouls the pitch off to the screen. No balls, 1 strike to count. Trammell drove in that run back in the first. I think it was a single to center, to left center, wasn't it?
Believe it was, and that drove in the run to give Alabama the lead, which they have never given up. Now they have the runner in a pickle play, pardon me. Throw goes to the first baseman, now to the shortstop, and goes into left field. And the runner will be safe at second. Now a delayed try for third as no one's covering third. So they tried to get the runner at second after they had him picked off. The throw went into left field, and so many people were in on that pickoff play.
Doesn't matter, he didn't get out. We don't have to write it down.
Wow, I don't know how we would have done that had he gotten out. We had no idea who was in on that.
But a fine job by Donald Juneau on that heads-up base running when he was picked off. Of course, you know, that was a bit of a lapse when he got picked off. Now North Carolina calling a timeout for a conference on the mound. When Juneau got picked off initially, what he did was he kept the ball in play. He made North Carolina throw the ball. He made them put it in the air. Of course, anytime you put the ball in the air, anything can happen. He forced about 5 throws, and the last one, when he dove into second, sailed into left center field, allowing him to reach third because, you know, everybody was involved in the pickoff play or the pickoff attempt. Nobody was standing at third base.
My question to you is this. How do you score that?
Stolen base, stolen base.
Donald Juneau with a couple of more stolen bases.
Actually, you'd have to give an error on that, on the last throw, the one that went into left field, I'm sorry. And if we can sit down and think about it, we might can figure out who made the bad throw.
I think the first baseman made the bad throw. I'm about 90% sure of that. Levi Jones with the bad throw. Pitch comes in outside after the conference is over. A ball and a strike to count. So it's an E3 with a little question mark beside it. Kevin Trammell standing in with a runner at third now and 2 down. 1-1 pitch called strike outside corner. A ball and 2 strikes to Trammell.
Good move by the North Carolina coaching staff to come out and have a conference with Richard Booth, who's pitched a great ball game. The last thing you want to do is let him get ruffled on a play like that.
Booth will be up 4th for North Carolina in the inning. May get a chance to do some damage in the 7th. Pitch is outside 2-2. So Booth will get a chance to help his own cause. Kevin Trammell, a right-handed batter for the Alabama All-Stars, wearing number 5, standing with an open stance. Here's the wind, the 2-2 pitch, swung on, grounded to the shortstop. Good play, but it skips away from Gators, and he'll have no play at first base. A run will score. Alabama now with a 3-run lead, 5-2.
And there you have to give a, you have to feel a little bit for Richard Booth. He had 2 men out, and then he had the runner picked off at first base. And an error, 2-base error, and he scores on a single to an infield single to the shortstop.
Now Trammell at first base with 2 down. And Booth will have to get Al Gonzalez as a throw goes to first base, and Trammell is back safely. Gonzalez is 1 for 3. Singleton scored in the 3rd. Now Booth steps off and looks at the runner, who returns to first base. Again a throw to first, and again the runner is back safely. We are on field number 2, which overlooks the city pond, a major water source for the city of Covington, Georgia, the host site for this tournament. The pond goes around pretty much all the way around the outfield, but any ball hit deep to center or right center field will land in the pond, as again a throw to first, and again Trammell is back.
And Kevin, the official scorer has changed the ruling on that infield single by Kevin Trammell. Is now ruling error on the shortstop.
Okay, so the official scorer now calling it an error on Trammell. Second error in the inning, as there's an errant throw to second base. Going over to third on the play is Trammell.
And the wheels now starting to fall off the North Carolina defense. Had 2 men out in the inning, had the runner picked off first. We've seen 3 errors since then, and it looks like they've got to make a pitching change now. It's the second visit to the mound, and that's it for Richard Booth, who pitched a fine ball game and was just snake bitten here in the 6th.
It's unfortunate that somebody has to lose this game. Some pitcher will have to lose this game, and Richard Booth right now is the person who stands to lose it for North Carolina. So the North Carolina All-Stars from Columbus County East will make a pitching change. We'll get the change and give it to you after this break. You're listening to the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series here on the Dixie Boys Radio Network. Back in 60 seconds.
At Food Depot, we invite you to try a new and better way of doing business. You buy the groceries at our cost, plus 10%. This week's specials include large crisp lettuce, 68 cents a head. Thompson seedless white grapes, 78 cents a pound. Soft and gentle bathroom tissue, a 4-pack for only 78 cents. Half a gallon of assorted flavors of Mayfield ice cream for only $1.79. A 4-pack of Flavor Light biscuits, sweet milk or buttermilk, 83 cents. USDA heavy western boneless round steak, $1.65 a pound. Fresh quarter loin pork chops, $1.59 a pound. And quality hamburger or hot dog buns, a 12-pack, only 63 cents. Food Depot in Covington, Conyers, and Stockbridge.
WGFS brings you the Trading Post every weekday afternoon at 12:45. If you're looking for an item or if you have an item to buy, sell, trade, or give away, this is the show for you. That's the Trading Post, heard daily at 12:45 on Covington's radio station, WGFS.
Pitcher for the North Carolina All-Stars is Robbie Huffstetler. Huffstetler, a breaking ball specialist, doesn't especially throw hard. Throws a lot of breaking balls and curveballs to the right-handed batters, and he will face one here in Al Gonzalez.
The line, Kevin, on Richard Booth, he pitched 5 2/3 innings, as the first pitch from Huffstetler is over for a called strike. He gave up 3, 7, 9 hits, walked 1 batter, gave up 2, 3, 4 runs, 5 runs make that, 4 of them earned, and struck out 8.
1-1 pitch is fouled down the left field line, 1-2. It's unfortunate, a good pitching line from Richard Booth, but stands to be the losing pitcher in this situation. Alabama has put another run across here in the 6th on a single and 3 errors.
And we have a few defensive changes to give you. Richard Booth has moved into right field. Kendrick Green has come on to play second base because the second baseman is now your pitcher, Robbie Huffstetler.
So Kendrick Green now in at second base as the pitch is swung on and missed. And Robbie Huffstetler using the slower, and slowest method employed by Mike Boddicker, Doug Jones, and others to strike out Al Gonzalez and the Alabama All-Stars here in the 6th inning. They put one across on 1 hit. There were 3 errors by North Carolina and 1 runner left on base. Last chance for the North Carolina All-Stars, trailing by 3 as we go to the 7th. You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series here on the Dixie Boys Radio Network. It is the Alabama All-Stars leading the North Carolina All-Stars, and we will be back with more action after this message.
Oh, it was terrible. Last night I dreamed that I didn't have HBO. I turned on the television, and all the movies had commercials every 15 minutes. The series were old and had been in syndication since 1976. It was horrible. I tried every channel, but it was hopeless. I couldn't find HBO. But then I woke up. I ran to my TV, and there it was, HBO, with uncut and uninterrupted movies like A League of Their Own, Mo Money, Whispers in the Dark, and Strapped, an HBO original movie, plus top comedy series like Dream On and The Larry Sanders Show starring Gary Shandling, not to mention World Championship Boxing and Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam. Believe me, having HBO is a dream come true, but trying to live without it is a nightmare. So wake up and, get HBO.
Call Covington Cable TV 787-4444, 787-4444.
You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series here on your local sports leader, WGFS AM 1430, Covington.
Last crack for the North Carolina All-Stars, trailing Alabama 5-2. We head to the 7th inning. North Carolina will have the top of their order to take care of business here in the 7th inning. Kevin Holden along with my broadcast partner James Windham, who has been checking out the action on field number 1 where Tennessee is taking on Texas. 2 tough teams tackling each other over there on field number 1. And what's going on over there, Jamie?
That's right, Kevin. In the bottom of the 6th, Tennessee has a 4-3 lead with 1 man out, and they got a runner in scoring position down at second base.
So Texas trailing and in danger of being eliminated from this tournament if they lose that game. North Carolina is also 3 outs away from elimination, and Ben Mosley is on to close it out for the Alabama All-Stars. Mosley into the wind and the pitch, called strike outside corner, 0-1. Mosley has had some great pitching performances in this tournament, and he is going to try to come on and close the door. It's a save situation as North Carolina trails by 3. Mosley, the wind and the pitch, low and inside, 1-1. Crowd noise goes up from the Tennessee side as Tennessee puts up another run to make it 5-3. 1-1 pitch is outside, 2-1. And Jamie, a Texas team that was heavily favored to win this thing, might be eliminated today.
Yeah, that's possible. I got the line now for starting pitcher Al Gonzalez after this pitch from Mosley, which is low, ball 3-1 the count. Gonzalez pitched 6 complete, gave up 9 hits, gave up 5 hits, struck out 9, and walked 2. Another great line, another fine pitching performance on the afternoon.
Gonzalez stands to win it as the pitch is fouled off to the right. Full count now, 3-2 to Huffstetler.
And that ball is fouled into the Texas and Tennessee field of play. It's now, is that a 5 or 6? I think it's 6-3 Tennessee here in the 6th inning.
It certainly is, 6-3. Tennessee with the lead, Texas falling apart. What a surprise. Mosley into the wind. Payoff pitch is in the dirt, ball 4. Mosley coming in, walking the leadoff man. Here in the 7th inning, certainly not what he wanted to do. So Huffstetler reaching base for the first time in today's game. We'll see what kind of speed the leadoff hitter has, as he'll probably be going somewhere in this at-bat. Here's Mike Slater, who has reached base all 3 times, once on a single, once on a passed ball after striking out, and he's also reached on an error.
The Volunteers may not be done yet in that game, still rallying.
Stretch by Mosley, first pitch, outside corner, called strike, 0-1. Slater, Gathers, and Booth trying to keep it alive for North Carolina here in the 7th inning. Huffstetler leads off first base.
Excuse me. Kevin, you begin to wonder if Texas might have started off too hot, too fast.
Pitch is swung on and missed by Slater. No balls and 2 strikes the count. But Texas in their first game against Alabama scored 17 runs, and they looked like they were going to walk away with this tournament, but not the case as they lost by 1 run last night. The 1-run loss may have taken something out of them as the 0-2 pitch is outside, a ball and 2 strikes. Slater has stolen 3 bases in this game. If he reaches base, likely that he'll be going. Here's the pitch, swung on, grounded to the shortstop. Trammell goes to second for 1. Play on to first will not be made.
That's Donald Juneau, the second baseman, covering on the play for the putout.
For the 4th time today, Mike Slater reaches base, this time on a fielder's choice, finding new ways to reach base all the time.
That's right. He began the inning in the first inning. He singled an infield single, struck out and reached on a pass ball in the 3rd inning. Reached on an error in the 5th, and now fielder's choice. Creative ways of getting on base.
Slater will probably be going somewhere in this at-bat as the pitch comes in high and inside to Gathers. 1-0, of course, I said the same about Huffstetler. Slater did not give him a chance to steal as he grounds into the force play at second base. Carlos Gathers, 0 for 2 with a walk. Brinsfield gives the sign. Here's the stretch. And the 1-0 pitch. Called strike, inside corner. Ball gets away from Brinsfield a few inches. Not advancing, though, is Mike Slater. A ball and a strike to count. Runner takes his lead. Again, the stretch from Mosley. He's checking that runner out at first, giving him a long look. He's stealing. There's a pop fly into shallow right field. Right fielder Harrion now comes on, makes the catch. May have a shot for a double play. Throw comes in, not in time. Gathers flying out to the right fielder, out number 2, and Richard Booth will be the last hope for North Carolina.
Kevin, we'd like to add that should Alabama be able to hold on and win this game, especially for our listeners down at WBCA in Baymanet, Alabama, the Alabama All-Stars would play again tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock. I think they would take the winner of the game going on behind us, wouldn't they?
Actually,
South
they would.
Carolina, Louisiana.
Exactly. They would play the winner of South Carolina versus Louisiana, the only 2 teams in this tournament with no losses, so Alabama would have a tough task in the next game. There's a called strike outside corner, 0-1. Richard Booth is 1 for 3, and he is the last hope here for North Carolina. Slater off first base. Stretched by Mosley, 0-1 pitch, swung, fouled off his foot. Break for North Carolina as Booth fouled it off his foot, and he's in a hole, 0-2.
Booth had a bit of a double whammy there. It shows how jinxed he's been here late in this ball game. Of course, he was the pitcher of record who ran into some bad luck in the 6th inning. But there he was fouling a pitch off his foot, and then as he's going down the first base line to run it out because he didn't hear whether the umpire called it or not, as he's running down the first base line, he trips and falls. So
poor Richard Booth might be happy to come back to Columbus County, North Carolina.
So add insult to injury there.
The stretch by Mosley. The 0-2 pitch. Called strike 3 outside corner. Alabama nailing down the victory over North Carolina. Going down on strikes is Richard Booth. And North Carolina has been eliminated from this tournament. Your final score in the game, Alabama 5, North Carolina 2. And we will be back with your post-game wrap-up. I will, along with James Windham, and that will come up right after this break. You're listening to our live coverage of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series from City Pond Complex in Covington, Georgia. Alabama with the victory, and your post-game wrap-up comes up after this.
Carroll Home Healthcare is growing fast thanks to you folks who have allowed us to meet your home hospital equipment needs. We've just added a respiratory therapist to better serve our oxygen patients. We've also added enteral feeding to our services and expanded our in-store inventory. When you need anything related to home care equipment from oxygen to walker tips, come in and see why our customers talk about the family feeling they get doing business here. We're in Covington Plaza next to McDonald's. Carroll Home Healthcare, 786-2030. The family folks.
Excuse me, sir. How did you fall in love with Pippin's Barbecue?
Oh, it's a tender love story. First, I went a-courting with an appetizer.
It must have been the hot wings.
Yep, then I got engaged to an entree.
The tender baby back ribs?
Yep, and now I'm a happily married man, although I have been known to flirt with dessert.
Our food and our service just can't be beat. You're gonna love what you eat.
Pippin's Barbecue, Highway 20 South in Conyers and on Alcovey Road in Covington.
Oh, it was terrible. Last night I dreamed that I didn't have HBO. I turned on the television, and all the movies had commercials every 15 minutes. The series were old and had been in syndication since 1976. It was horrible. I tried every channel, but it was hopeless. I couldn't find HBO. But then I woke up. I ran to my TV, and there it was, HBO, with uncut and uninterrupted movies like A League of Their Own, Mo Money, Whispers in the Dark, and Strapped, an HBO original movie, plus top comedy series like Dream On and The Larry Sanders Show starring Gary Shandling, not to mention World Championship Boxing and Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam. Believe me, having HBO is a dream come true, but trying to live without it is a nightmare. So wake up and, get HBO.
Call Covington Cable TV 787-4444. 787-4444.
And we are back from the City Pond Complex. We're in Covington, Georgia, the host site of the 1993 Dixie Boys World Series, where Alabama, after losing the first game, has won for the third consecutive day, defeating North Carolina by a score of 5-2. Your final total in the game for Alabama, 5 runs on 9 hits, 2 errors. They left 6 runners on base. For North Carolina, 2 runs on 5 hits. They committed 6 errors, and that's a point of interest that we'll be talking about with my color man, James Windham, in just a moment. North Carolina also left 8 runners on base. Your winning pitcher, Al Gonzalez, goes 6 innings, and Ben Mosley comes in for the final inning to nail down the save. Losing pitcher, Richard Booth. Now, Jamie, talking about the game between Alabama and North Carolina, which we've just finished doing, and by the way, I have enjoyed calling the game with you once again, and talking about North Carolina's miscues on defense really cost them in this game.
Well, it did, Kevin, especially you said they had 6 errors. 3 of those, half of those errors came in one inning back in the 6th inning when things really unraveled for Richard Booth, who had up to that point pitched a very fine ball game. He wound up giving up 9 hits, and he only walked 1. He struck out 8 batters as Robbie Huffstetler came in for North Carolina and struck out the final batter, the final Alabama batter to hit this game. You could say he almost really matched pitch for pitch. A wonderful, wonderful performance from Al Gonzalez, who pitched 6 complete innings and struck out 9 hitters. So a terrific performance, especially this late in the tournament when the competition gets tougher and tougher from both pitchers, but especially Al Gonzalez, who really did a fine job. Once again, an Alabama pitcher in the last 2 games has gone into the 7th inning. That really bodes well for Alabama's chances as they advance in this tournament. They got the loser of South Carolina and Louisiana, which will happen at 8 o'clock tonight. They got the loser of that game tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You got to feel good about their chances. They look pretty deep in pitching, and these kids are well rested. A fine, superior defense for these kids. The only question is, these guys don't hit the ball very far, and will that hurt them as they go further in the tournament?
That seems to be their only weakness. Alabama has shown some serious guts after losing 17-2. They didn't lay down. In fact, now 3 days in a row, they've picked up good victories and gutsy performances from their pitchers. 3 different pitchers coming on. Matt Moore, Al Gonzalez, and Ben Mosley in these 3 games have come on and done an excellent job for Alabama, who now moves on to the next round, which will be tomorrow, and they'll be taking on the winner of the loser of the South Carolina-Louisiana game. The winner, I believe, will get a bye. Well, actually, the winner will play the winner of this Texas-Tennessee game that is going on field number 1. And Jamie, do you have an update over there?
It is still 6-3 Tennessee in the 6th inning.
Tennessee is the home team, so that means it's the bottom of the 6th.
We should add Tennessee is hitting with bases loaded right now, and Texas walked in a run. It is now 7-3 Tennessee.
Greg Lee, pitcher for Texas, has just walked in a run, so Tennessee with a 7-3 lead. And, of course, we will keep you updated throughout the tournament here on the Dixie Boys Radio Network of all the action that goes on. Once again, for my broadcast partner, James Windham, this is Kevin Holden from field number 2, City Pond Complex, Covington, Georgia, with your final score, Alabama 5, North Carolina 2. So long, everybody.